Hello, everyone, and welcome to Level Up Live. I'm Gina Robinson. I'm a coach for Kathy Mazak, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about the very last installment of this amazing book, Break the Good Girl Myth. I'm going to talk about the myth of rules, and this is a myth that at first I thought, this probably isn't really that meaningful to me. But the more that I read about it, I realized that this is a pretty deep one. so, so I think I'll go ahead and start with reading the kind of the identifiers, the markers for it. So the myth of rules sounds like if I follow the rules, life will be easier and I will get ahead. I remember telling myself that in middle school, I think it was. So I definitely feel this. And so it's this tendency to seek and follow external rules and to find an authority rather than trusting your own intuition, your own thoughts and needs and opinions and desires. And so, what it is that you're giving up is your purpose, your own mission, your own self authority, and your trust in yourself. And so, today I want to talk a little bit about trusting yourself and really understanding that sometimes it's good to follow the rules, and sometimes it's much, much better to break those rules or ignore them and write your own. So I want to start by acknowledging that I was an amazing student in school. I followed all the rules. I did everything I was supposed to do. I anticipated things. I was great. I got praise. I loved the structure. And I at some point realized that this school stuff was kind of a rule that I had set for myself, that I needed to be inside of this academic structure in order to find some version of success that was calling out to me. And I spent quite a long time in school, grad school, PhD, went all the way through the tenure process. And, really, it was when I left academia, left that set of rules that I understood really well. It was only after I left that I started to recognize what my mission is and what my values are and how I can connect my work to my mission and values. And this brings up like one of the reasons why we love to follow rules. Rules tend to be good for us, right? They give us a sense of control. They make us feel safe. They bring us some comfort. And there's a lot of convenience to rules. And this is, I think, the part that is most difficult is that rules mean that you do not have to make a choice. You don't have to make a decision. The decision is already made for you. Now I'm done with my master's. Now I go into my PhD because that's the rule. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to make these complex choices because this structure that I'm in is already making them for me. But now you can see where fast forwarding a couple of decades, you start to think, what do I want? What do I like? What if there weren't rules about these things? And as you get older, there are fewer rules, really. How do I make those decisions? We're really kind of so far away from what it is that we want and our mission and our values and our joy, because those rules have told us all those things, that when we come to decide that on our own, we don't really know what it is that we love and that we want to do and that we care about. So I've got a couple of suggestions for this because I think that we can start pushing against those rules in really, really small ways every day. So I have four reframes, four ways of thinking of our life and our choices, the choices ahead of us, in a way that is radically separate from rules and structure. So the first one is that there is no right path. And I know that we know this mentally. We're like, oh yeah, so and so didn't start writing until they were 30. So, there are lots of different paths, but not for me. I can't take a different path. That is the difference, that we're happy to have other people do these exciting things, but we still want to have that security and that sense of safety that we're doing the right things. And so I really want you to think of this whole path idea as like just not real. We are creating that. So what if you just went ahead and articulated your own path? What if you created this vision of your future that did not necessarily correspond to those outside pressures that you've had? And just noting some of those rules, some of them are really clear and obvious to us. And then there are other invisible rules, and those rules are taught to us by all of the authorities in our lives. But I also want to think now about us being the authority. So now, at this point, I'm 41. I'm happy to say that. I get to make the rules. I do not have to follow other people's rules in a lot of spaces. And so that brings me to radical reframe number 2, which is that there isn't a path. You can create your own path. Or you cannot have a path. You can choose to go off of that path and walk right through the woods because you are the one making those moves. So remember, it's always you making those moves. So other people suggesting things to you and giving you rules, they don't know what it's going to feel like when you are doing it. And so you are the one who gets to choose. 2 more radical reframes that are very helpful. One is that consistency is not key. Consistency is not key. I want to take that idea, that word consistency, and just destroy it, because I don't necessarily have to stick with one thing for the rest of my life. That is how we see consistency. You take this job and you never leave. You marry and you never divorce. You live in this town and you never leave. And the thing is, change is okay. And change is not the same thing as not being consistent. So if for 4 months you're like an amazing writer, and then for 2 months you just can't write because you're moving or your kids are graduating or there's something going on, that's okay. You don't have to praise consistency over understanding what it is that you need. And last radical reframe. You are ready. You are ready to go down that path, whatever that path is. Or again, if you don't want to have a path, but you do not need more training. You do not need to wait until you're older. You do not need to wait until you have the right clothes, until somebody says yes. You are ready to start walking down that path. And if you don't think you're ready, I want you to dig into that. Do you not think you're ready because you don't feel ready? Because that trust in yourself is telling you that no, there are some things that have to happen. Or are you saying you're not ready because other people have been telling you that? Either explicitly or implicitly. I really want you to think about every time you say, I'm not quite ready for this, I'm going to dig into it. Do you feel that you're ready? Because that is also a very, very valuable piece of information that we often ignore. So again, there's no right path. There might not be a path at all. You don't have to consistently be down the same path all the time. And you can go ahead and go down that path right now. And I'm going to pull a piece of advice that I have from Tara Moore, who is another awesome writer. She wrote Playing Big, which is another favorite book of mine. And she talks about how, as a leader, you really shouldn't be following rules. You should be creating rules. And I think that when we think about leadership, really, we want to be able to create rules that align with our mission and our values and our goals. And those are the rules. And that is the authority that is most important. The fact that it comes from you is really, really, really hard to acknowledge, because we love finding that authority and getting that approval and that praise. But this is now the time when we are the authority, and we have to detach from some of that praise and from some of that criticism and recognize that what we're doing is something that we can trust and something we can believe in because we are ready. So I'm just going to finish with one suggestion. This is a big suggestion, but I think people will really like it. Um, I want you to think of something that scares you, something that maybe is big or you don't have the skills for yet, or you're just kind of waiting to be ready for it. And I want you to try to do it. And if you fail, that's okay. But you you've got to get out of your comfort zone. I think that that's a really, really important part of it. But the most important part is that you are choosing, because we don't tend to do a lot of choosing and making a lot of decisions for ourselves. We often let other people do those things for us. So I want you to just think of the thing you're scared to do, the thing you don't think you know how to do. And I want you to just see if you can go ahead and do it. And if that's something at work, if that's something at home, in your family, wherever it is, just stepping out of your comfort zone and trusting yourself is the first and most important step. So thank you so much. Definitely let me know if you've done anything scary or new or exciting or broken any rules recently. And if you're watching this later, definitely use the hashtag Team Replay. And thank you so much and have a great day.